पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये असम्भूतिम् उपासते ततो भूय इव ते तमो य असम्भूत्यागुम्रताः। Those who worship the unmanifest, they enter into blinding darkness. But those who are devoted to the manifest, they enter into greater darkness. अन्यदेवाहुः सम्भवाद् अन्यदाहुरसम्भवात् इति सुश्रुमधीराणां येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे. The wise have said, worship of the manifest and worship of the unmanifest yield different results. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha यस्तद्वेदो भयगुं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा सम्भूत्यामृतमश्नुते.
You take medicine to get rid of sickness. So specific results are given by different medicines, different acts it all like. For example, you exercise when you go to a gymnasium. There are different exercises for different parts of the body. One for the chest, one for the shoulders, another for the calves, another for the back. Isn't it? Specific exercises for specific parts of the body. Similarly, specific medicines for specific parts of the body. Specific music, tunes to create specific moods. People in the entertainment field, they know it very well. They know what type of music to put where. In a love scene, they won't put a thrill music. In a suspense time, they put another type of music, which is not in celebration. When you come to the ragas, raga means the tunes. There is a whole Veda, a section of Upaveda just for the tunes. In music you will see sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. In the Vedic music, the 7 scales. Are attributed to 7 animals. And you will see these animals will only, they make noise or sound only to that tune. Elephant, though elephant is so big, its pitch is very high, it says ni, nishad. Music, in music, the ni comes from elephant. Pa comes from birds, nightingale. Ma comes from cows and goats and sheep. Like each animal has only one particular tune that they can sing, or their voice is in particular scale. Human system has the entire range. So avidyaya mrityum tirtva. Get over the death through these specific different disciplines in life. If you are sick, take medication or do the particular exercises, chant particular mantras, you get over that. But that's not going to give you immortality. That's not going to give you bliss. That's not going to bring you liberation. But it is essential. When someone is sick, medication is essential. But when they are normal, then they look forward towards freedom, liberation, something higher. The immortality you achieve by vidya, the higher knowledge. So both has relevance. That's what here they say. The manifest has its relevance, the unmanifest has its own relevance. One cell multiplies itself and becomes an embryo. An egg and sperm, when they conjoin, they become one cell, and that embryo, when it grows bigger, then it knows exactly where the eyes, where the ears should happen, where the heart, and it is all different. The texture of eye is not the same as the nail. The nails are not the same as the hair. And that's not the same as the kidneys. Though it is one human body, yet it is so different. Each part is different. This is what is the Deva. The level of Devas is, though the Atman is one, but the Devas are many. Deva, I mean the divine energy. You know, in Christianity you say Father, Son and the Holy Spirit. In Islam it says the Farishtes, Gabriel and other Farishtes are there. Here in India they classify the Paramatma and Devata, Adhyatmik, Adidaivik and Adibhautik. 3 levels they have said. We say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Right? There are, on 3 levels you can get disturbed. One is the physical, second is the metaphysical, third is the causal, Adhyatmik. On the level of the self. So, to bring peace to these 3 levels, we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May there be peace here, there. As in Christianity, it said one Holy Spirit. Father is the infinite, omnipresent God. Son, the human form, and then the Holy Spirit is that energy. Now here the Holy Spirit is not one, but it has diverse functions, characters, qualities and functions. And the Vedas deal with this. Particular thing, particular part of the body is connected to particular Deva. As I said yesterday, the connection between the macrocosm and microcosm is established here, and specific actions for it. So where do the Devas live? Are they living somewhere in another planet? Say no. Aprakrita Divya Manusha Rupam. There is no physical body to the Devas. They are only light bodies. What? Light bodies. And the path for them is where do they stand? Where do they establish themselves? In the mantras, sounds. See, it's one electricity that somewhere has become light, somewhere has become air. When the fan is rotating, the same electricity is producing air. Somewhere it is producing sound. And their functions are all different. And one electricity is providing us with all this. If you say, no, in the electricity I'm only going to use it only for lighting, not for air conditioning, then you are somewhere losing it, missing the point. Do you get it? So similarly, this one infinite being, self, that is what you are, but in you, there is differences, there is diversity. Your eyes cannot be your nose and it cannot be your ears. Eyes can only do eyes function, nose can only do function of the nose. When this much difference is inside, this is Sambhuti and Asambhuti. You must recognize the differences and you must recognize the unity. Whether someone pinches your cheek or pulls your ears, you do feel it. That's only one person who is feeling both. Correct? You can't say, I'm only here or I'm only my cheek. Yet, they have different functions. And that is what this whole universe is all about. Though one consciousness creates itself into this diverse universe, it's only one thing, yet it is many. Someone who catches hold of only the one thing is going into darkness. Someone who catches of the many is also going to darkness. Deeper darkness. So one has to understand both. That is classical chemistry. The periodic table is as important as the quantum mechanics of unification. This is the message. You know? Is it clear? See, if you have cough, you have a particular medicine for cough. You can't take that which you take for when your tummy is upset. Correct? In the same way, to gain specific results, specific mantras or specific acts are used, and that is what is the science of the Vedas.
हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषण्ण पावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये. The truth is veiled by a golden vessel. O Pushan, uncover the veil so that I may behold the truth.
The very quest for truth itself is a sign of blossoming of human potential. Now, in the quest for truth, the paradigm plays an important role. Shift in paradigm has to happen. Because those who believe in many cannot comprehend one, and those who comprehend one cannot comprehend the many. We say God should be one. Why should He be one? Why should God be one? Why He should not be many? Because if there are many, then there could be conflict. What makes us comfortable is if it's only one, very comfortable. Do you see what I'm saying? It's correct. If it is too many or many, if God is many, then how could God be omnipotent? This issue comes. Now, here is another paradigm. It says, yes, but God need not be in the same costume all the time. God can come in any costume. He can come in the nighties in the night, in the track pants when he goes to gym. When he goes to office, he can go in 3-piece suit or whatever. Why do you restrict the expression of the one into just has to be one? It could be many. God can come in the form of a punk, colored hair and walking in the streets of London. It could be anything. And that's why the Rishi said this entire universe is its manifestation, is its own form. Virupebhyo Vishwarupebhyascha namo nama. This morning Rudrabhishek they chant. There's such depth in these words. Virupebhyo means no form. Vishwarupebhyo. All the forms in the universe are His. The tribal people or the native people all over the world. Whether it's British Columbia, Windsor, British Columbia, or in the Maori tribe of New Zealand, or in Australia, you'll find the native people, they honor the directions. They honor the direction. They honor the mountains. For them, mountains are sacred. Rivers are sacred. Trees are sacred. Here in India, trees are considered very sacred. The idols that they keep in temple, that's not important at all. Idols came much later, but below the idol there was a diagram. There is a yantra that is kept. That is important. What is this yantras? They are like the circuit diagrams. If you open a transistor, do you know that there is this little circuit diagrams? We don't understand what is that. But an electronic engineer knows that. Yeah, this circuit diagram has to be like this. To catch certain waves, that's when it absorbs the electromagnetic waves. These earth circles have been forming in different parts of the world. If you have seen National Geographic magazine sometime or seen that, there is a whole lot about how the geometries are getting formed in the creation and in the wheat fields of Scotland. How many of you have seen this? Raise your hand. Yeah. And if you see that, it is just the yantras that the ancient rishis have cognized and said. There was a Buddhist monk here a couple of days back from China, mainland China. They have a huge big monastery there, very well known. This person in meditation had this experience of Star of David, the Shatkona, an experience. So she went in search of it, the meaning, want to know more about this. And this person, when this nun, went to Israel, because that is when it's very prominently displayed. The flag of Israel has Shatkona. There are two ancient civilizations on this planet. One is the Vedic, the second is the Hebrew tradition of the Judaist tradition. And both have one common symbol, that is Shatkona. Of course, it is in Buddhism, Jainism, and all other religions which followed, they also use that. It is not someone's imagination, it is an experience that has come up. So she went in search of it. She said she went for many days, many years there, looking for some meaning, some explanation about it. And finally she landed up here. And when she found it here, said, yeah, this is what I've been looking for. This energy, this feeling, this elevation. So all these temples are based on these mantras and yantras. This is what is important. There's a proverb in Sanskrit that says, Archakasya prabhavena shila bhavati shankara. It is by the effort of the worshipper, a stone turns into divinity. Not on its own. But it is your consciousness, the faith or the intention in you to invoke the prana in that. That a stone can also respond to you or represent to you the infinity. And all these pujas are done with the yantras. Yantra is the main thing. Means the diagram. So the Star of David with a dot inside in the middle becomes Ganesh Yantra. Flowers around it with a circle becomes Durga Yantra. And what is the difference between Ganesha and Durga? Yeah, specific mantra, specific impact. So these are the devatas. This is what Lord Krishna also said. Trayi Vidya, three type of vidyas the Vedas proclaim. And that gives you different comforts in life. When there are obstacles coming, think of Ganesh. Wherever you put your attention, that strength comes. And elephant is the strongest element. When you think of elephant, you feel like an elephant. Your consciousness, because there is an exchange that is happening between the viewer and what is being viewed. The subject-object relation gets established. The perceiver has an impact on the perceived and vice versa. Isn't it? What is this theory called? In physics, this is called, in theory of relativity, is one of the, that is, you are looking at an object and because you are looking, the object is changing, is changed. So you have an impact on the devas and devas have an impact on you. And what are the devas? Everything is devas. What? The fire is deva, air is deva, water is deva, apsu devata. Water is deva, is one of the devas. Fire is deva, sun is a deva. Make good use of them all. Honor them. Which the ancient people of every civilization has been doing. They would honor sun, they would honor air, not pollute air, they would not pollute rivers. If you go to a tribal village, you will see they keep the village much cleaner than any cities. There's so much more cleanliness there. You can't find garbages lying around in any forest. Animals keep the forest clean. Have any one of you been on any safari? How many of you have been on some safari? When you go into forest, you find it's so so clean, so pure. Nature knows how to maintain itself, and we need to maintain nature. We honor the nature, nature will honor us. This is yajna. Yajna means honoring the elements of nature. Yajna has three aspects. Deva Puja is honoring the divinity, acknowledging the benefit that they gave you, honoring the divinity in its diverse manifestations, honoring the river, honoring the mountains, honoring the trees, honoring animals, honoring human beings. This is Deva Puja. And then Sangati Karana, getting everyone along, taking everyone along and moving. See, you see a good movie, you don't say, I have seen good movie, I want to keep it to myself, I'm so happy. If you try to hold on to your happiness, it's not going to stay with you. You have to spread happiness. In isolation, you can't be happy. Suppose you are living in a family of 6, 7 people. If one of them is unhappy, can you be happy? Huh? That somewhere pricks you. Oh, that one person is unhappy. And it is pricked. So what will be your effort? Your effort is to make everybody happy. But you are making any effort physically, mentally, emotionally, does it work? It doesn't work. How can someone be happy? Only two possibilities. Number one, through knowledge. Induct knowledge into them. Knowledge is a vaccination which keeps you away from the flu of misery. Knowledge is the vaccination, Like you have polio drops. Knowledge is that polio drop and keep people away from depression. This is essential, knowledge. Second, suppose they are not ready to receive knowledge, your prayer. Pray to that infinity, pray to the devas. Let them be happy. And let them get some interest in knowledge. This intention. Left brain people would say intention, the right brain people would say prayer. Prayer has that emotional touch. Sankalpa, our intention, has that tarkic touch or logical touch to it. A wise would say both are the same. Wise one would say both are the same. In fact, maybe the prayer is little more stronger because emotion is always much stronger than any thought process. So if one person in the family is not happy, you cannot be fully happy. So what you do? You do some karma, some activity, some action to make them also happy. In the same way, if the whole society is unhappy, if there is a threat around you, or if there is an emergency in your state or in your country or in your city, can you be at peace? No, impossible. You can't say, I want to have clean air only in my home. If the city does not have clean air, forget about it. Your home cannot have clean air. So you have to work for that. If one plastic is burnt, it can produce enough dioxin to destroy the health of thousands of people. So you have to make that effort to educate people, not to burn the plastic. And we have to make that effort to create happiness. If you spread happiness, then your happiness gets sustained. If you spread knowledge, your knowledge sustains. In Sanskrit said, Nalpe sukhamasti yovai bhuma tat sukham. It's in another Upanishad. Because it is very relevant here, I am quoting this. In the smallness, there is no happiness. That which is big and great, happiness is there. That's why the mind is always running for something bigger. It is in search of happiness. Here they say, what the Rishi say? Hiranmayena patrena. This mind is on a run for some greater thing. And it is looking for all these glittering things. Something bigger. But truth is hidden underneath this glittering sheath of happiness, of charm, of love, and all that one aspires. And you pray, please unveil this and let me have the glimpse of the truth. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushan apavrino satya dharmaya drishtaye. For me to recognize truth and dharma, oh my divine, oh Pushan, oh my divine, you only can unveil this. Please unveil. Remove this glittering sheath that's on the truth. Whatever mind can achieve by its own effort is always smaller than the mind. Whatever an ego feels it has achieved by its effort can only be smaller than that. See, if I say I have gotten it, I got it because it comes within my hands, within my grip. I cannot get something which is beyond my grip or which is bigger than my efforts. Are you getting what I'm saying? So whatever you achieve with your effort is always smaller than you. Got it? Anything you may achieve, whatever, the highest in the world, but still, if you have achieved, it is smaller than you. And it is not worth. It's not worth. It's not worth. So what is worth? That comes to you as a gift, as grace, as a blessing. And that's exactly, he says, my mind is running after the Hiranmayena patrena, the golden vessel. It's the glittering, the outer shell. The mind is running after that. But oh my divine, oh my dear, please remove the sheath, unveil this so that I can see the truth and my dharma. Next.
Pushanne karshe yamasurya prajapatya vyuharashmin samuha tejah yatte rupam kalyanatamam tatte pashyami yosavasau purushah sohamasmi. O Brahman, thou art the nourisher, the solitary traveler, the controller, the acquirer, and the son of Prajapati. Do spread your rays and gather your brightness, so that I may be able to see or realize your divine form by your grace, and thereby realize the ultimate reality that I am the Purusha that is present in everything.
Soham asmi, I am that. This realization I have to have. For that what? I am seeing all the differences, all these different devas.